Thousands of people are traveling this Memorial Day weekend, and the TSA is being put to the test. This comes as American Airlines, the nation's largest carrier, says more than 70,000 of its passengers have missed flights so far this year because of long lines at checkpoints. As airport managers told Congress, Chicago's O'Hare Airport has had the worst problems.
Passenger wait times were consistently 60 minutes or more. Airline passengers have reported wait times as high as 120 minutes, with thousands of passengers missing their flights.
Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport now speeding things up by using new conveyor belts and larger bins. And here in the Bay Area, lines at Mineta, San Jose have been running relatively smoothly. Similar story at Oakland International Airports. Looking ahead, Oakland is looking to hire about 30 new private security guards to help prevent long security lines. That'll cost about $42,000 a month. For those new guards, they'll start in mid-June.
And joining us now to talk more about the issues the TSA is facing and all of our airports is Congressman Eric Swalwell, who sits on the committee overseeing this. Let's start right with the issue of lines, because that's what this is about. It's a roll of the dice when you walk in, whether it's going to be short or whether it's going to go on forever. One of the questions is, can we even staff for these surges and slumps?
Look, Phil, I've flown about 1 million miles since getting elected. I am in airports twice a week. It's easy to dump on the TSA, but when you look at what's really going on, 15% reduction in TSA staffing over the last 3 years and a 15% increase in nationwide passenger travel. That's going to create long lines, and Congress can act and start to fully.
Well, let's take a look at some of those, because that's a very good point. We have 2,000 less TSA agents out there now than we did a couple of years ago. Why?
Congress took money from funding TSA and wanted to put it into reducing the deficit. The deficit is starting to come down, so I think we should look at putting that money back to the TSA.
So we charge, or we as passengers pay, I think it's about, what, $5, $6 per ride in order to fund TSA.
And right now,
but then as far as a budget deal, Congress said, well, we'll take, what, $1.25 billion of that and start paying down something over here. They siphoned off the money.
Right, and if the lines are going to get longer, that's going to hurt our economy. If people don't see that they can go to the airport and get on the plane at the time they need. So we need to reduce those lines, and we can do it in a smart way.
If it blows people's mind that if this is the safety is paramount, how could we be taking money from this to pay for down a budget deficit as part of a budget deal?
Right. We've seen this Republican Congress use a number of gimmicks to move money around to reduce deficits. The deficit's coming down. The economy has contributed to that. I think we should move that money back to airport screeners so we can move people faster across this country. I don't know if you saw, there was recently a report that 1 in every 10 days there is a breach at our airport perimeters. AP's Martha Mendoza just released this past week. Our airport perimeters are not safe right now.
Well, we've got the airport perimeters, and as far as things getting through TSA, the reports show that that's a pretty high percentage as well. On the screenings aren't
over 90% of the banned items during the tests got through.
So, okay, and then, so what part of it is working?
You get what you pay for, Phil. When you take the money out and say you're doing it in the spirit of reducing deficits, all you're going to do is create longer lines, and people won't be as safe in the air.
Okay. Another point is, like I said, we're dealing with surges and times. Why not have private companies do it? Look, because federal agencies, you have federal hiring, takes a long time, you have all these rules about it. Why not have private do it?
Private companies should be on the table, but here's what's happening. Republicans defund TSA, and then they say, well, private industry could do it better. If we actually fully funded TSA, I think that would lift morale, move people to the airports, and not allow them to have that argument. But they have that argument because they like to chip away, chip away, chip away.
So if we were going to sum this up, we say we took the money that was supposed to be going into screening, started diverting it to other things, and then because of that diversion, TSA starts to fall down on the job. And then you turn around and say, well, they're falling down on the job. Somebody else should do the job.
That's right. It's a classic argument that we've seen from our colleagues across the aisle. I think Democrats and Republicans can come together on this, fund the TSA the way it was supposed to be meant, lift the morale of the employees there, and then start moving people faster through our airports.
Well, I hope they can do it before we have a disaster. Okay, that's all we have time for this morning. I wanted to thank you for being here. Let's take a look at the weather out there for this Memorial Day weekend.